Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. Council members, please find your seats. Sergeants, please close those doors. Quiet in the chambers, please. Quiet in the chambers, please. Council members, please find your seats so we could take a head count so we could see if we can get started. Quiet on the floor, please. Quiet on the floor, please.
Recording in progress.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please place all electronic devices to vibrate. Madam Majority Leader.
Good afternoon and welcome to the stated meeting of March 12, 2025. I am Majority Leader Amanda Farias and I'd like to thank you for joining us. If you would like to follow along, the agenda for today's meeting is posted on our website. On behalf of the body, I welcome the members of the public who have joined us today. During stated meetings, only members of the council may speak. Members of the public shall remain silent. If you wish to express your support of any remarks, you may make the silent approval gesture. I want to remind my colleagues that decorum is to be respected at all times. Insulting each other is not appropriate. All remarks are to be addressed to the chair and members shall not speak unless recognized by the chair. It is essential that even if we disagree, we treat each other with respect.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Roll call.
Abreu.
Present.
Aviles.
Presente.
Ayala.
Here.
Banks.
Here.
Botcher.
Here.
Brannan. Brewer.
Here.
Brooks Powers. Caban. Carr.
Here.
De La Rosa.
Here.
Dinowitz.
Here.
Felice.
Here.
Gennaro.
Here.
Gutierrez. Hanif. Hanks.
Present.
Holden.
Here.
Hudson. Brooks Powers.
Here.
Joseph.
Present.
Krishnan.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Lewis. Marmorato.
Present.
Marte.
Present.
Thank you. Mealy. Menon.
Here.
Moya. Narcisse.
Present.
Nurse.
Present.
Hanif.
Present.
Osei. Palladino. Powers.
Here.
Caban.
Present.
Palladino. Wrestler.
Present.
Riley.
Present.
Rivera.
Present.
Salam.
Present.
Brannan.
Here.
Salamanca. Sanchez.
Present.
Shulman.
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
Ung.
Present.
Vernikoff. Williams. One.
Present.
Zhuang.
Here.
Ariola.
Present.
Farias.
Present.
Vernikoff. Speaker Adams.
Present.
Hudson.
Present.
We got him.
Thank you. We will now have today's invocation, which will be delivered by Interfaith Minister Yanidis Urbayez from Holyrood Episcopal Church, which is located at 715 West 179th Street in Washington Heights.
Good afternoon and greetings from my parish, Holyrood Church, and the good people of Washington Heights. Let's pray. Dear Lord, as we celebrate Women's History Month, we have gathered here today to proclaim the lives of all women who continue to be the foundation of life. Lord, before the beginning of this session, help all present here to maintain the humanist principle of inclusion and the harmonious coexistence of all genders, cultural and religious traditions. Divine Creator, we ask you to bless this space where so many women and men before us have been and continue to be committed to a legacy of excellence, wisdom, and strength in the struggle for a system that promotes actions for justice, peace, and human dignity. Dear Lord, we are living in unprecedented times. Hence, help this body not to lose sight of what's in front of them. Further, I am asking you for the protection of each member of this city council and for them not to be distracted by the crossing of fire. Instead, let each one of them remain attentive to the vision of justice for which you fought and sacrificed your life. Lord, during this commemoration of Women's History Month, help us to tend our support to all people, especially women who are being the victims of abuse and denigration. Creator of life, during this season of Lent, let us look to you, the great friend, confident and liberator of women. Let us to sustain and honor the teachings you share with the women of your time, our courageous ancestral companions who continue to be our inspiration and the guiding light of faith, justice, and hope for all humanity. Amen.
Thank you. I will now ask Councilmember Carmen de la Rosa to spread the invocation on the record.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Interfaith Minister Janidis Urballes is a first-generation Dominican immigrant and a resident of New York City for the last 60 years. She holds a bachelor's degree in education and a master's degree in social psychology, both conferred on her by the City College of New York. She's a former teacher and a director of various nonprofit institutions and the co-founder of several women's organizations. Janidis is an interfaith minister and the current co-president of the board of directors of Holy Rood Church, Iglesia Santa Rosa, located in my district in Washington Heights. She is a member and former president of the Riverdale Society of Ethical Culture and a council member for the Episcopal Diocese of New York. Janidis has a long career dedicated to educating, inspiring, and guiding people, especially women, to achieve their life goals. A human rights, community, and women's activist, Janidis uses her talents, academic knowledge, and spiritual gifts to offer conferences, workshops, seminars, and retreats for personal and spiritual growth and the betterment of our humanity. Our district is served and blessed to have Interfaith Minister Janidis Urballes, and I thank her for being here today. Majority Leader, I thank you for the opportunity, and I make a motion for unanimous consent to spread the invocation in full upon the record.
Adoption of minutes.
None.
Messages and papers from the mayor.
None.
Communication from city, county, and borough offices.
M114 through M116, Comptroller and Tax Commission reports.
Received, ordered, printed, and filed.
Petitions and communications.
None.
Land use call-ups.
None.
Thank you. We will now have communication from Speaker Adrienne Adams.
Thank you very much, Madam Majority Leader, and good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin, I do want to acknowledge the recent deaths of 2 New Yorkers due to fatal fires. Last Friday, we lost a 65-year-old man in Sunnyside in Councilmember One's district, as well as an 81-year-old woman in Greenwich Village in Councilmember Botcher's district. Our hearts are with their loved ones and their neighbors as they mourn their tragic loss. I also want to acknowledge the passing of Dr. Hazel Dukes, former president of the NAACP New York State Conference. Dr. Dukes was a pillar of our community and devoted her life to public service. She was a true civil rights leader, and we continue to build on her work today. I was honored to be called one of her daughters, and I was also honored to celebrate her life and legacy this morning. Now I'd like to address the Trump administration's decision to cut $1.1 billion in funding for food banks and free school lunches, as well as his plans to dismantle the Federal Department of Education, starting with yesterday's firing of half of its employees. Families across this city and country rely on our nation's schools for their children's development. The key to a healthy and safe society is an accessible and strong education system. The severe implications of the Trump administration's plans are disastrous for working families, just like the many chaotic actions being advanced by him. While the Federal Education Department provides less than 10% of the nation's public school funding, its major role is supporting students from working class families, including students with disabilities. New York City schools, like those across the country, are largely funded by city and state taxes, but federal funds supporting critical programming for low-income students with disabilities and financial aid for working-class students to attend college. These programs are essential to the education of Americans and New Yorkers and are under attack on the country's working-class families. None of this helps our students, teachers, school staff, or the working families counting on our federal government to do its job to ensure every child can succeed. The gutting of our federal education department, the chaos that economic forecasters say is pushing us towards a recession, and the gross violations of civil rights and the U.S. Constitution are not making life easier for the working people in our city and our country. This orchestrated fear and chaotic uncertainty is tanking the health of our country and economy. It seems to be authoritarian rule for the sake of demonstrating power, but not to help any hardworking American. We cannot allow ourselves to be desensitized to this. Each dangerous action brings us closer to tyranny, weakens the country, and hurts our city and New Yorkers. We must speak clearly about the impact on the people who rely on our leadership and unite to defend our democracy and each other. There is a lot of work ahead of us, but this council is committed to fighting for New Yorkers and their needs. February 28th marked the start of Ramadan. As our Muslim neighbors fast from sunrise to sundown, I want to extend my best wishes as you observe the blessed month, Ramadan Mubarak. March 6th was Ghana's Independence Day. I hope our Ghanaian communities had a joyous celebration. March 8th was International Women's Day. And we know we are a historic women majority, New York City Council. We've prioritized solutions and policies to confront some of the greatest challenges facing women across our city. Women are the backbone of our communities, and when women are safe, healthy, and have access to opportunity, we'll all succeed. Happy International Women's Day. This year, Purim is being observed tomorrow evening and Friday. I want to wish our Jewish friends and neighbors a joyous and safe Purim. Chag Purim Sameach. March 14th is Holi, the Hindu festival of colors, love, and spring. And on March 17th, we will be celebrating St. Patrick's Day. I look forward to once again marching down Fifth Avenue next week at the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade. March 23rd is Pakistan Day, which commemorates the adoption of the Lahore Resolution that led to the formation of the nation of Pakistan. I join all Pakistani New Yorkers who celebrate this day of freedom and independence. And March 25th is Greek Independence Day, and we will join our city's vibrant Greek communities in observance of this important celebration. Next, I want to wish a happy birthday to Councilmember Chiose, who's celebrating on the 18th. Clap, 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 clap. And Councilmember Lincoln Ressler, whose birthday is on the 19th. I wish you both wonderful celebrations with your loved ones. Let's move on to our stated agenda. First, we'll vote on the following land use items. H&H Operating Agreement will amend the New York City Health and Hospitals Operating Agreement to clarify H&H ownership of 9 properties. The properties are located in the districts of Deputy Speaker Ayala and Council Members Marte, Abreu, Dinowitz, Stevens, Hudson, Osei, and Banks. Queens Future Map and Change Amendment. This is the first of several expected private applications for land use approvals needed in order for sites to be eligible to participate in the state-led process to award up to 3 gaming facility licenses downstate, including in the city. The applicant is seeking to redevelop the parking lots of Citi Field into a casino complex that would include a food hall, music hall, hotel, convention space, parking, and 20 acres of new public park space in Councilmember Moya's district. 1093-1095 Jerome Avenue, UDAP, will facilitate the development of a new 11-story residential building with approximately 59 affordable units in Councilmember Stevens' district. 2201 Davidson Avenue will facilitate the long-delayed rehabilitation of one building with 48 affordable residential units under HPD's third-party transfer program in Councilmember Sanchez's district. The council will also disapprove Les Dives' application for a revocable consent to operate a sidewalk cafe in Councilmember Marte's district. Next, we'll vote on the following finance items. Resolution 791, sponsored by Councilmember Justin Brannan, to approve the new designation and changes in the designation of certain organizations to receive funding in the expense budget. Today, we'll also vote on the following pieces of legislation. Resolution 740, sponsored by Councilmember Lincoln Ressler, would call on the state legislature to pass and the governor to sign S.590, A.3665, would protect ballot access for charter revision proposals from being blocked by mayoral enacted charter revision commissions and increase transparency requirements for commissions. Thank you to our staff members Erica Cohen, Jayasuri Ganapathy and Rachel Cordero. Resolution 57A, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala, calls on New York State to create a program to provide food benefits for those not eligible for existing benefits, including anyone over 55 meeting existing income eligibility requirements. Resolution 41A, sponsored by Councilmember Alexa Aviles, calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign S.2082 A.3474 to create the New York State Working Families Tax Credit. Thank you to our staff members, Nina Rosenberg and Sahar Mozami. Resolution 717, sponsored by Councilmember Crystal Hudson, which calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign A.270 S.141, also known as the Access to Representation Act, which would establish the right to legal counsel in immigration court proceedings and establishes consistent funding streams for immigration legal services for New Yorkers. Resolution 714A, sponsored by Councilmember Hanif, calls on the New York State Legislature to reintroduce and pass and the Governor to sign A-3506 S.2235, also known as the New York for All Act, which would regulate the discovery and disclosure of immigration status by New York State and local government entities. Thank you to staff members Rebecca Barilla and Nicole Kata. Introduction 564A, sponsored by Councilmember Gail Brewer, would amend the New York City Charter and Administrative Code to require that the Department of Records and Information Services, or DORIS, maintain a publicly accessible and searchable online database with every post that any official government account has shared on a social media platform. All agencies and offices of elected officials would be required to provide DORIS with information about any official social media accounts that are associated with the agency or elected official in a form designated by DORIS. Thank you to our staff members, Jayasuri Ganapathy, Erica Cohen, and Rachel Cordero. Introduction 977A, sponsored by Councilmember Althea Stevens, would increase the frequency of the Department of Probation reports on programs offered to probationers, compliance with departmental mandates, and recidivism rates. In addition, the reports would require information on the nature of technical probation violations and clarify that DOP is to provide information on all programs it administers. Introduction 1036A, sponsored by Councilmember Sandy Nurse, would require the Department of Correction to issue quarterly public reports on people in custody who have been ordered to undergo a mental health evaluation to determine if they are competent to stand trial. Reports would include information on the type of housing area where these individuals are being detained and the average length of time spent in custody. Introduction 1026A, sponsored by Councilmember Crystal Hudson, would require DOC to report separately on in-person and televisits and provide more detailed reporting on the reasons jail visits are not completed. The bill would also require DOC to record interactions in which a person in custody is informed about a visitor and refuses to attend the visit and, upon request, provide those video recordings to defense attorneys. Introduction 420A, sponsored by Councilmember Carlina Rivera, would require DOT to establish a child visitor program to improve the experience of children visiting department facilities and report annually on the status of the program. All new city jails would also be required to have a specially designated visiting area for child visitors. Introduction 1023A, sponsored by Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez, would require DOC to create and operate an online scheduling system to facilitate visits to incarcerated individuals. At minimum, the system would give the public the ability to select, reserve, and modify dates for jail visits and provide real-time updates when DOC must cancel a scheduled visit. Thank you to our staff members Natalie Meltzer and Jeremy Whiteman. Introduction 216A, sponsored by Councilmember Hanif, would require the Department of Social Services to implement various changes to improve the IDNYC application process. The changes would improve access to appointments for IDNYC applicants and ensure that all New Yorkers with proof of identity approved under the program are not being inappropriately denied. Thank you to our staff members Nicole Kata, Rebecca Barilla, Jayasuri Ganapathy, and Declan McPherson. Finally, we will be voting on a package of bills related to improving the experiences of our foster youth. Introduction 56A, sponsored by Councilmember Chio Say, would require ACS to survey and report annually on the number and placements of LGBTQIA+ foster youth, including their racial and specific LGBTQIA+ identities. Introduction 1052A, sponsored by Councilmember Crystal Hudson, would require the expansion of the Foster Youth Experience Survey that ACS is required to distribute annually to foster youth. This bill would expand that survey to include questions about experiences relating to gender expression, gender identity, sex characteristics, and sexual orientation, and would allow foster youth to express any additional feedback about their experiences. Finally, this bill would require the survey to include questions relating to a foster youth's relationship with ACS workers instead of asking solely about their foster parents and placement. And Introduction 81A, sponsored by Councilmember Kevin Riley, would require an audit and report on foster care placement notices. State law and regulations issued by the Office of Children and Family Services require that attorneys for foster youth receive notice of changes in foster placement 10 days in advance or within 1 business day of the change if it was anticipated. This bill would require ACS to periodically audit caseworkers to ensure that they provide notifications within an appropriate time frame. Thank you to our staff member, Christina Yelamati. Thank you for your attention, colleagues. Now I turn it back over to our Majority Leader.
Thank you, Speaker Adams. We will now move into discussion of general orders, and I'd like to first recognize Councilmember Brewer, followed by Nurse, then Stevens.
Thank you very much. I'm here to talk about social media, Intro 564. It requires DORIS to maintain a publicly accessible and searchable database online of the social media posts and websites of government officials. And it requires city agencies to provide, along with officials, DORIS with a list of each social media account. Some social media accounts, such as NYPD Chief of Department on Twitter, are carried over from one administration to the other. However, others are unique to the individual, like NYPD Doherty on Twitter, which was recently deleted. We don't want them to be deleted. All need to be captured and put in the archive forever. Because of my history of supporting municipal archives, I feel strongly that such records are now part of our history and must be saved for generations. As council member previously and chair of government operations, I took on Mayor Bloomberg's administration when they wanted to merge DORIS and DCAS. I enlisted the help of every archivist in New York State, and we made sure no such merger took place. When Mayor de Blasio took over, he undid the merger. The rest is history. Today, DORIS, under the leadership of the excellent Commissioner, Pauline Toole, she understands the importance of permanent government records. It's foremost in the agency's mission. The way it could happen is software can scrub for all the social media accounts that are listed as official. But there are ones that are official, but that may not be as obvious. And the purpose of this bill is to keep for archival interest the entire list of social media. Thank you very much.
Recognizing Councilmember Nurse, followed by Stevens, then Riley.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, colleagues. Today I join Council Members Hudson, Rivera, and Gutierrez as we'll be voting on my bill to improve the conditions and quality of life of people touched by the carceral system. Intro 1036 comes in response to reports of people who have been deemed unfit to stand trial, who are languishing on Rikers despite being cleared for transfer by a doctor and a judge. Some individuals remained stuck for months with no end in sight, and in one case, a man was in limbo for 15 years. With over 34 confirmed deaths at Rikers since the start of Mayor Adams' administration, it is clear at this point that Rikers is no place for anyone to be, let alone someone experiencing a mental health crisis. This bill will ensure consistent public reporting on the amount of time people deemed unfit to stand trial remain in jail and where they are housed. At the end of the day, we cannot allow our jails to be a substitute for mental health care. That's not what they're designed for, and it's not what they should be used for. Our priority should be safely reducing the jail population and ensuring that people get the care they need in the right setting. And Rikers cannot serve as that mental health facility simply because the state is failing to expand beds in appropriate facilities. Thank you to everyone who helped craft and push for this legislation, and I ask for my colleagues to support this bill today. Thank you, Chair.
Recognizing Councilmember Stevens, followed by Riley, then Rivera.
Intro 977A, which will require the Department of Probation to provide detailed reporting on technical probation violations in all programs offered by the department. This legislation increases the frequency of reporting on probation programs, compliance, and developmental mandates, and recidivist rates. It also requires more transparency around the nature of technical probation violations and ensures that DOP is providing information on all the programs they administer. Probation is meant to be a second chance, an opportunity for individuals to build their lives outside of incarceration. This legislation will help us identify gaps in service, address racial and economic disparities, and probation enforcement, and ensures that probation services is true to the purpose, rehabilitation and not punishment. When we're talking about public safety, we must recognize that safety is more than just policing. It's about creating a pathway to success and not roadblocks to opportunity. We must ensure that programming meant to support our communities are actually working and not just existing. That's why I will continue to push for greater transparency in our justice system and ensuring our city resources are used to drive real progress, not community segregation. With this bill, we take meaningful steps towards making sure probation is a tool for opportunity and just not another arm of incarceration. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Riley, followed by Rivera, then Hudson.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Colleagues, today we have the opportunity to strengthen our foster care system and uphold our duty to the most vulnerable children in our city. Foster care should provide stability and security, but without accountability and transparency, we fall short. The CARE Act Intro 81 ensures ACS orders foster care placements, preventing delays and disruptions that can harm a child's well-being. Data-driven oversight empowers us to craft stronger policies, allocate resources wisely, and create a system that works, not just for agencies, but for children and families who depend on it. Transparency builds trust, support efforts, and ensures every child receives the care they deserve. I urge you to vote yes on Intro 81. This is more than legislation, it's a commitment to making foster care a system of stability, safety, and justice. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Rivera, followed by Hudson, then Gutierrez.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're voting on Intro 420, which will require the Department of Correction to develop a program to improve the experience of children visiting their loved ones in city correctional facilities. I want to thank all of the advocates for their help, especially Osborne Association, in crafting this bill. According to the Osborne Association, 1 in 14 children have an incarcerated parent. Visiting a loved one in jail should not be a traumatic or dehumanizing experience, especially for children. But I've heard from families and advocacy organizations about how unpleasant or intimidating it can be to take a child to visit a loved one. Maintaining family bonds is critical to the well-being of individuals who are incarcerated and their families, yet for too long the visiting process in our city jails has been rife with issues. This legislation will create a more humane and supportive environment for children visiting their parents, ensuring they are met with compassion, not fear. My bill will require that all children visiting areas provide toys, games, books, and arts and crafts. All staff who interact with child visitors will receive specialized training. All new or substantially remodeled city jails shall have a specifically designed visiting area for child visitors, that the department shall conduct a study on the feasibility of implementing televisits on weekend days without reducing the number of hours for in-person visits on weekend days, and that the department produce a report on the program for child visitors, including information on the number of visits by child visitors, number of staff who receive training, the average length of time between the time a child visitor arrives at a jail and the time such child visitor commences a visit, and more. These reforms are a critical step in breaking cycles of harm and prioritizing dignity and care within our correctional system. I ask for your support in voting aye on Intro 420. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Hudson, followed by Gutierrez.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Madam Majority Leader. I'd like to briefly discuss two of my bills, Intro 1026 and Intro 1052, which this body is voting on today. In late 2023, the nonprofit news organization The City released an investigation that revealed the Department of Corrections had canceled over 15,000 video visits since 2020. Those in custody rely on external social support and connection for their rehabilitation and well-being, and any impediment to receiving visits from family and friends is a violation of our country's most fundamental human rights. Intro 1026 would address concerns that correction officers are canceling visits by falsely claiming detainees or rejecting the visits by requiring more detailed record-keeping for jail visits. The bill would mandate the Department of Correction to provide more thorough explanations for any canceled visits. My second bill, Intro 1052, expands the Foster Youth Experience Survey administered by ACS to include questions about the treatment of foster youth by ACS and foster care providers, as well as questions about their experiences with gender expression, gender identity, and sexual orientation. According to a report from the Human Rights Campaign, 30% of youth in the foster care system identify as LGBTQIA+, compared to the national average of just 11.4%. LGBTQIA+ youth facing horrendous cases of homophobia and transphobia end up in our foster care system, and in many cases, this discrimination continues even in the system. This bill would ensure that our government has the information it needs to give LGBTQIA+ youth across our city the opportunity to feel safe and protected. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Gutierrez.
Thank you so much. For too long, visiting a loved one in jail has been a dehumanizing ordeal, punishing not just the incarcerated, but their families and communities. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a systemic failure that makes re-entry harder and recidivism more likely. Many of us, myself included, have made the difficult journey to visit at Rikers. We know the toll it takes. That's why the Family Connect Act is so important. It makes visitation accessible, transparent, and dignified by creating an online system to schedule visits, removing barriers that have kept families apart. This bill also ensures accountability, preventing visits from being arbitrarily reduced or denied, and requiring clear communication on visitation decisions. This is about justice and humanity. With 80% of Rikers detainees in pre-trial detention and 50% with a mental health diagnosis, families should not be forced to suffer alongside their loved ones. With this bill, we are making it clear. Families matter, dignity matters, and every person deserves a system that treats them with respect. I want to thank Speaker Adams for her support and leadership, and my co-sponsors, including Committee Chair, Councilmember Nurse. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Sanchez.
Thank you so much, Madam Majority Leader. I want to take a moment to thank the Tenant Association President Arturo Miranda, Northwest Bronx Community Clergy Coalition, the Legal Aid Society for their advocacy of the residents at 2201-05 Davidson, the HPD team, of course, our Planning and Land Use Division, and my Director of Land Use Policy and Budget, Ben Ratner, for their work on behalf of this building. 2201-05 Davidson owes $28 million in municipal arrears, has nearly 600 open HPD violations, nearly 90 DOB violations, 60 health violations, with persistent issues of mold, water damage, including collapsed ceilings, structures, and vermin. Needless to say, these living conditions are unacceptable. In time after time, hearing after hearing, HPD says that agencies use code enforcement tools to the fullest extent of the law to keep New Yorkers safe within their homes. Yet in the case of this property, up until very recently, the city was failing residents with inaction at the hands of negligent ownership. We're talking about the Alternative Enforcement Program, 7A, underlying conditions, and even previous rounds of the third-party transfer program. The city failed. But this is precisely why when I took office, I petitioned to reactivate TPT proceedings against this property. Gratitude to Speaker Adams, to Chair Salamanca and Hanks, and all of my colleagues for support in improving conditions for these residents through today's Article 11 and Urban Area Development Project in connection with the reinstated third-party transfer application. I hope my colleagues will also join me in signing on to Intro 1063, which completely reforms the third-party transfer program to ensure that we are able to go after the worst landlords, like the owners of 2201-05 Davidson, and ensure good conditions, better conditions for residents. Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Thank you all.
Recognizing Councilmember Hanif.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Today we are voting on Intro 216A, the Access to ID NYC Act. Thank you to Deputy Speaker Ayala and Councilmember Brewer for introducing this bill alongside me, to Immigration Chair Aviles for moving it through committee, and to Speaker Adams for bringing it to the floor today. As you know, the ID NYC is a municipal identification card that is available to all New York City residents, regardless of immigration status. The card can be used in many important situations, including a parent who needs proof of residency to get food for their family from a food pantry, an older adult applying for a discounted Metro card, a person seeking asylum who needs some form of photo ID to apply for an employment authorization document, and a young person who was offered their first job but needs a photo ID to complete the onboarding paperwork. However, for over a year, same-day walk-in appointments have not been available, and an inefficient website made it extremely difficult to schedule appointments. And I'm sure many of your teams have encountered constituents frustrated about the challenges of obtaining an ID. Intro 216A will address these operational issues and significantly improve the ID NYC application process. This bill will reinstate same-day walk-in appointments on a pilot basis, ensure the number of available application slots meet the demand from New Yorkers, codify improvements to the online appointment scheduling system, implement annual staff training for efficient processes, establish a review system for applicants who are denied, and add an issue date to the card so cardholders can demonstrate how long they've resided in New York City, which is important for federal immigration proceedings. I want to thank all the advocates, Brooklyn Defender Services, and the entire legislative team, Nicole Kata, Rebecca Barilla, Rob Calandra, Declan McPherson, and my team members, Matt Malloy, Alex Liao, Mus Lamia, and Nisha Chaudhry. I urge my colleagues to vote yes. Thank you.
Seeing no one else signed up to speak. Report of special committees.
None.
Reports of standing committees.
Report of the Committee on Children and Youth, Intro 56A, 81A, and 1052A, Foster Youth.
Amended in a couple of general orders.
Report of the Committee on Criminal Justice, Intros 420A, 1023A, 1026A, and 1036A, Correction Facilities.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Intro 977A, Probation Department Programming.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Finance, Preconsidered Reso 791, Transparency Resolution.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Governmental Operations, State and Federal Legislation, Intro 564A, Government Social Media Accounts.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Immigration, Intro 216A, New York City Identity Card.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Land Use, LU 225 and Reso 803 through LU 228 and Reso 806, The Beacon.
Coupled on general orders.
LU 237 and Reso 807, 1093, 1095, Jerome Avenue.
Coupled on general orders.
LU 241 and Reso 808, Ladiv.
Motion to disapprove.
LU 247 and Reso 809 and LU 248 and Reso 810, 2201 Davidson Avenue.
Coupled on general orders.
LU 249 and Reso 811 and LU 250 and Reso 812, Queens Future Map Change and Amendment.
Coupled on general orders.
On the general orders calendar, resolution appointing various persons, Commissioner of Deeds.
Coupled on general orders, I now ask that the clerk take a roll call vote on all of the items coupled on today's general orders calendar.
Moya.
Thank you. Madam Majority Leader, if I can make some remarks before my vote.
So granted.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you, and thank you, Madam Speaker, and my colleagues for the opportunity to share a few words about the project before us today, because it has the potential to boost the economy of the borough of Queens and the city as a whole. Throughout my career in public service, my priority has been to support initiatives that truly reflect the community's needs and strengthen our local economy. So when I was approached about the proposal for Metropolitan Park, a new sports, entertainment, and recreational destination envisioned by New York Mets owner Steve Cohen and the Hard Rock International, I made it clear that I would only support the project if it genuinely served our community. This project is about more than building a new venue. It's about creating lasting job opportunities, transforming this area into a world-class destination, and elevating our local economy to unprecedented heights. Metropolitan Park will provide 100% union jobs in both construction and operation. There's also a firm commitment to diversity in local hiring, with contracts for minority and women-owned businesses and opportunities for local residents. Community involvement has been a part of the plan, and that's why Metropolitan Park has actively engaged with community leaders and has shown real dedication to partnership with local organizations. Together, through ongoing dialogue with Mr. Cohen, local leaders and residents, we've crafted a vision that truly serves Queens. And that includes a vibrant community-centered sports, entertainment, recreational destination, complete with new open spaces, entertainment venues, a hotel, and a gaming facility. I'm ecstatic at the prospect of finally turning huge swaths of often vacant pavement into usable recreational space by transforming these underutilized parking lots into a dynamic hub of recreation, commerce, and entertainment. We can create an economic engine that will draw visitors year-round, enhancing the experience for millions who come to Citi Field, the USTA, and the soon-to-be New York City Football Club first state-of-the-art soccer stadium, and truly have usable recreational space. This project deserves the opportunity to compete in the established process for one of the new gaming licenses, and I'm proud to vote yes on allowing them to do that. And I vote yes on the future of Queens. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank my Chief of Staff, Megan Taddeo-Benham, Paris Slaughter, James Catone, and all of the land use staff for their work on this project. I vote aye, and I encourage my colleagues to vote in the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you. Abreu.
Aye.
Aviles.
Aye.
Ayala.
Aye.
Banks.
Aye.
Botcher.
Aye.
Brannan.
Aye.
Brewer. Brooks Powers.
Aye.
Caban.
I vote aye on all except for LUs 249 and 250 and the accompanying resolutions on which I abstain. Thank you.
Thank you. One moment. Carr.
No on introduction 216A and aye on the rest.
De La Rosa.
Aye on all.
Dinowitz.
Aye on all.
Felice.
Aye on all.
Gennaro.
Pass.
Okay. Gutierrez.
Aye.
Hanif.
Aye.
Hanks.
I vote aye.
Holden.
Aye on all with the exception of intro 216A, which I vote no.
Hudson.
Aye.
Joseph.
Aye.
Krishnan.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye on all.
Lewis. Marmorato.
I vote aye on all with the exception of intro 216A. I vote no.
Marte.
I vote aye on all except I abstain on LU 249 and LU 250.
Thank you. Mealy.
I vote aye on all.
Menon.
I vote aye on all except for land use item 241 and accompanying Reso 808, for which I abstain.
Thank you. Narcisse.
I vote aye.
Nurse.
I vote aye.
Osei. Palladino.
I vote aye on all except for intro 216A and land use items 249 and 250. And that's it. And accompanying resos.
Thank you. Powers.
I vote aye.
Wrestler.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Rivera.
I vote aye.
Salam.
I vote aye.
Salamanca.
Aye on all.
Sanchez.
Aye on all with the exception of land use 249 and 250 and accompanying resolutions on which I abstain.
Thank you. Schulman.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you. I just want to say Queens Future is not in my district, but it's in my backyard. And two things I want to point out about it. One is that it's going to create over 23,000 union jobs, and the other is that the recreation piece is built specifically for families and people with disabilities, which is very rare. So with that, I vote aye on that and aye on all the rest. Thank you.
Thank you. Stevens.
Aye on all.
Ung.
Aye on all.
Vernikov.
Aye on all except no on Intro 216A. Thank you.
Williams. 1.
Aye.
Zhuang.
Aye.
Ariola.
I'd like to disclose for the record that my son works for DSNY, which is on today's transparency resolution. I am a no on Intro 216A, as well as Land Use 249 with accompanying Reso 811, and Land Use 250 with accompanying Reso 812, and I am aye on all the rest.
Thank you. Farias.
I vote aye on all.
Speaker Adams.
I vote aye.
Excuse me, Councilmember Gennaro.
Yes, I vote aye on all, with the exception of 216A, on which I vote no.
Thank you, Councilman.
All items on today's general order calendar are adopted by a vote of 46 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, with the exception of Introduction 216A, which was adopted by a vote of 39 in the affirmative, 7 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, and LU 241 and Resolution 808, which was adopted by a vote of 45 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 1 abstention, and LUs 249 and 250, with accompanying resolutions, which was adopted by a vote of 41 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative, and 3 abstentions. Introduction and reading of bills.
All bills have been referred to the committees as indicated on today's agenda.
Thank you. We will now move into discussion of resolutions, and I'd like to recognize Councilmember Hudson, followed by Aviles and Hanif.
Thank you so much. Today, I'd also like to briefly discuss Resolution 717, which the Council is voting on today. 2 years ago, this body voted to pass a resolution that urged Albany to approve the Access to Representation Act, which guarantees the right to legal representation to all New Yorkers, regardless of citizenship status. Today, we're once again passing a resolution in support of this legislation, not because we didn't get it right the first time, but because the urgency has only grown. We've seen a rise in xenophobia across the nation, promulgated by a presidential administration that has opted to scapegoat an already vulnerable population instead of actually addressing issues our country is facing. But here in New York, we know the truth. Without immigrants, this city and this nation cannot thrive. As a city, we have rejected the idea that immigrants facing deportation or detention should be denied civil and legal protections. And now, more than ever, we need the state to pass this vital legislation and show that it, too, still stands strong with immigrant communities across New York. I urge my colleagues to join me once again and vote yes on Resolution 717. Let us send a message to Washington and the country that New York will remain a place where every person, regardless of immigration status, has the protections they need to thrive. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Aviles, followed by Councilmember Hanif.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. I know many of us have worked in some form or fashion on addressing and reversing childhood poverty trends that have impacted our districts and children across the city. Through this state legislation, S2082 83474, we have the opportunity to lead where the federal government has failed by increasing to support those families most in need. Under this legislation, tax benefits would be offered to all families with children through the age of 17. If passed, the state will begin to chip away at the massive increase in child poverty rates since 2021, which impacts so many of our communities. With the federal government again launching a tax on working families, not only in this city but across the country every single day, our state needs to step up now. I want to thank you all for your vote today, and I particularly want to thank the Speaker and Chair Ayala, as well as many of the co-sponsors, and thank you to Senator Gennardis for centering working families at the state level. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Hanif.
Today we are voting on Resolution 714A, which urges the state legislature and the governor to swiftly enact the New York for All Act. This bill would expand sanctuary city protections statewide, especially in the context of the Trump administration's family separation agenda. State resources should not be used to perform federal civil immigration enforcement. Immigrant New Yorkers must be able to interact with state employees, including those from the MTA, the Department of Labor, and the CUNY and SUNY systems without fear of deportation. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Ressler.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. I hope that you all will support Resolution 740 today, which calls on this, which would essentially ensure that all ballot proposals that come from the City Council or come from the voters are actually able to reach the ballot. For administration after administration, mayor after mayor has used charter revision commissions, some organized at the 11th and a half hour, to block good proposals from reaching the ultimate decision makers, the voters. This is undemocratic and it's unfair. So I am immensely grateful to originally the great Assemblymember Dick Gottfried for originally sponsoring this bill, the longest serving Assembly member in the history of the body, and now Assemblymember Tony Simone, his successor, and the great State Senator Liz Krueger for sponsoring this legislation in Albany. It has been championed by our Speaker, Adrian Adams, who has really pushed for this idea to ensure that even if there are multiple competing charter revision commissions, all of their ideas should reach the final decision makers, the voters. This is the right thing to do for our democracy, and I hope that with the strong passage today, we can all advocate together for passage in Albany.
Thank you. Seeing no one else signed up to speak during discussion of resolutions, we will now have a voice vote on today's resolutions. If you wish to vote against or abstain from any of today's resolutions, please notify the Legislative Documents Unit by email or by approaching the dais. I'll now read today's resolutions into the record. Resolution 41A calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign Senate Bill 2082 and Assembly Bill 3474 to create the New York State Working Families Tax Credit. Will all those in favor say aye? All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 57A calls on the New York State to create a program to provide food benefits for those not eligible for existing benefits, including anyone over 55 meeting income eligibility. Will all those in favor say aye? All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 714A, it calls on the New York State Legislature to reintroduce and pass and the governor to sign Assembly Bill 3506 and Senate Bill 2235, also known as the New York for All Act, which would prohibit and regulate the discovery and disclosure of immigration status by New York State and local government entities. Will all those in favor say aye? All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 717 calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign Assembly Bill 270 and Senate Bill 141, also known as the Access to Representation Act, which establishes the right to legal counsel in immigration court proceedings and provides for the administration thereof. Will all those in favor say aye? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 740 calls on the state legislature to pass and the governor to sign Senate Bill 590 and Assembly Bill 3665, which would eliminate the rule that provides whenever a city charter commission puts a proposal on the local ballot, other referendum proposals are barred from the ballot. Will all those in favor say aye? All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We will now move into general discussion. And I'd like to recognize Councilmember Hanif, followed by Lee, then Brewer.
Thank you. I am using my time to urge colleagues to sponsor Intro 214, the New York City Trust Act, which works towards the same goals as Resolution 714A of ending illegal local collaboration with ICE. This bill currently has 26 sponsors and would ensure city agencies follow the sanctuary city laws that are currently on the books by empowering those who have had their rights violated with the ability to sue for damages. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Lee, followed by Brewer, then Carr.
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker, Majority Leader, and colleagues. I'm proud to be introducing 1216 today, along with my colleague, Councilmember Hanif. The facts are clear. There is a hidden epidemic of domestic and gender-based violence in our country. The CDC estimates that 1 in 5 women in the U.S. experience severe, intimate partner violence in their lifetimes, with their assaults often going unreported to the police. This legislation would require the mayor's office to end domestic violence and gender-based violence to make available at no cost posters about recognizing gender-based violence to nail, hair, and beauty salons and other cosmetology establishments across the city. These posters would include information about services available in the city, including but not limited to free hotlines. As a social worker, I know the importance of meeting people where they are. I hope this legislation raises awareness and prompts conversation about this understated crisis and connects those affected to the necessary resources and care they need. I hope that you can join me in this effort. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Brewer, followed by Carr, then Zhuang.
Thank you very much. I too want to join the speaker in saying how much we're going to miss Dr. Hazel Dukes. I was able to appoint her to Community Board 10, and at the same time she could pick up the phone and get any presidential or incumbent on the phone. She was an amazing woman, and we will all miss her tremendously. I was there last night for the wake. I'd like to talk about intro, I think it's 1205, has to do with the fact that there is a need, I think, to have a possibility of a strike, of a shutdown of the federal government, and the city of New York needs to make sure that we are prepared for that. And then second, I think it's 1206, has the, with Councilmember Abreu, we are sponsoring a bill that basically says that those large buildings that are not composting need to do so. You will find many, many complaints from people who want to compost in their buildings, and the management is actually saying they're not going to do it. And April 1st is the deadline. So there's increased fees, and there's, you have to figure out how you're going to compost, but it is going to be the law. It's part of our planet, saving our planet, and we have to make sure that it gets done. So that's the purpose of that bill. We hope you'll join. Thank you very much.
Recognizing Councilmember Carr, followed by Zhuang, then Joseph.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I just want to recognize that next Wednesday, a week from today, is St. Joseph's Day, a day of significance for many Italian Americans as well as many Christians around the city. And I just want to wish a Buona Festa, Happy St. Joseph, on behalf of the Italian caucus here in the council, to everyone here and to all the Joes and Josephines and others around the city. And also just wanted to report on the annual St. Joseph's Day Pastry Contest. We had guest judge Lydia Bastianich with us today in the rotunda judging the pastry. And we have the winner of the custard section, piece of cake from Newdorp in my district. And then we had a tie for the winners of the cannoli section, Tutto Calcio from Whitestone and La Torre from Howard Beach. So congratulations to this year's participants. And again, Buona Festa, Happy St. Joseph's to all.
Recognizing Councilmember Zhuang, followed by Joseph, then Banks.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Today I'm introducing 2 bills to help our streets safer and cleaner. The first bill, Intro 1218, could require signs to install near each speed camera so the drivers get the warning and slow down before they even hit the camera. Every year we put more cameras, but more life still got lost. 2023, we saw the most traffic deaths in nearly a decade. In 2024, pedestrian fatalities continue to rise. When the drivers see the sign warning, then they can, before they see the camera, they can slow down, stop at the red lights, and drive more responsibly. This is a simple, cost-effective solution that will save lives. The second bill is Intro 1217, could require the City Department of Health to respond to 311 complaints regarding the rats, pests, or condition within 10 days. As we know, New York City already have serious issue about rats. I get complaints every day from our office. Our residents call 311 but never hear anything back. So our people in our city right now, they deserve to know what happened and what DOH has been done within 10 days. And the public report that people should know the result, what they get so far. And we need a better tracking record and a better accountability for all the city agency. And the residents deserve to know more and also make sure our government is functioning. We owe it to our community to take these issues seriously. Let's make our city cleaner, safer, and more transparent. I urge all my colleagues to sign all my bills, and thank you all.
Recognizing Councilmember Joseph, followed by Banks, then Riley.
Thank you, Majority Leader. We also want to take a moment to honor Dr. Hazel Dukes. Thank you for all that you've done for New York City and for us as one of your children. Thank you, Majority Leader Farias. Earlier today, I was honored to recognize No Kid Hungry with a proclamation along with Councilmember Shaker and our Speaker, Adrian Adams, as we recognize National School Breakfast Week and celebrate the incredible work of No Kid Hungry. During the month of March, we shine a spotlight on School Breakfast Program, a critical resource that ensures millions of children start their day with the nutrition they need to learn, grow, and thrive. Here in New York City, we know that food insecurity is an unfortunate reality for too many of our students. A hungry child cannot focus in classroom, and no child should have to wonder where their next meal will come from. That's why programs like School Breakfast are essential. They not only fill empty stomachs, but also empower our youth with the foundation for success. And we are deeply grateful to No Kid Hungry for their tireless advocacy and commitment to ending childhood hunger. Your work has really made a difference in the lives of so many children and families today. We are proud to recognize that impact. Together, we will continue fighting to ensure that every child in our city has access to healthy, nutritious meals. Because food is not a privilege, it is a right. Thank you and congratulations to No Kid Hungry on this well-deserved recognition. Thank you, Majority Leader.
Recognizing Councilmember Banks, followed by Riley, then one.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Today I come with a heavy heart. I would like to take the moment to pay tribute to a friend, a supporter, community leader in the 42nd Council District, Annabelle Diaz-Austin. Sadly, Annabelle passed away recently, and she will be deeply missed by all who knew her. Annabelle was a fierce advocate for residents in boulevard houses and NYCHA public housing developments throughout my district. She fought tirelessly, not only for her neighbors, but for youth and seniors throughout the East New York community. Her dedication and passion for her community was unwavering. I want to honor her memory by offering a few kind words and expressing my gratitude for her commitment and service. Thank you, Annabelle, for your years of selfless service. Your legacy will continue to inspire us all. To Annabelle's family and friends, please accept my deepest condolences during this difficult time. Thank you, Madam Majority Leader.
Recognizing Councilmember Riley, followed by one, then De La Rosa.
Thank you, Majority Leader. On January 10th of this year, the residents at 2910 Wallace Avenue experienced the worst horrific fire that we've seen in my district recently. And it was due to negligence from a 2015 worst landlord by then public advocate Tisha James, who was Ved Parkash. This is why today I'm introducing a resolution with Councilmember Juan and Councilmember Sanchez, Resolution 802, which takes a critical step forward to ensuring that tenants displaced by fires caused by landlord negligence are not left without alternative housing or financial support. Property ownership comes with responsibility, and when a landlord is found at fault, they must be held accountable. If their failure to maintain safe living conditions leads to a fire, they, not the tenants, not the city, should bear the financial responsibility for temporary relocation. This measure is not about punishing responsible landlords. It's about ensuring basic safety, preventing displacement, and reinforcing accountability. It creates an incentive for landlords to prioritize fire prevention, reducing risk for tenants, and easing the strain of emergency housing services. Ultimately, preventive maintenance is more cost-effective than facing relocation liabilities. I also want to be clear, this applies only in cases of proven negligence, not unforeseen accidents. Our goal is simply to protect tenants, reinforce responsible ownership, and ensure no family is left homeless like the residents at 2910 Wallace Avenue due to a landlord's failure to act. I want to thank my colleagues, Councilmember Julie Wan and Parina Sanchez, for their leadership on this issue. I urge my colleagues to support this resolution so we can advance it to the state legislature and strengthen protection for tenants across our city. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember 1, followed by De La Rosa, then Aviles.
Thank you so much, Speaker Farias. Oh, sorry, Majority Leader Farias and Madam Speaker. Uh-oh.
Let's stay on topic here.
Today I'm introducing Reso 802, urging the state to pass Senate Bill 3886, sponsored by Senator Michael Gianaris, as well as the Assembly Bill by Claire Valdez. This is a crucial legislation that requires building owners found responsible for fires that result in a vacate order to cover the cost of temporary housing for displaced tenants until repairs are completed. No tenant should be left in a limbo after an emergency. Yet too often, displaced tenants are forced to wait for months or even years, as we're seeing in my district, without clear communication from property owners, uncertain of when they can or even if they ever will return home. In 2023, a fire caused by A&E Real Estate displaced 250 tenants in Sunnyside in my district. This was a fire blatantly caused by the landlord's negligence. A year later, the 107-unit building remains empty and not a single step has been taken to repair the building or reconstruct it. We're in the middle of a housing crisis and it's unconscionable for these units to sit vacant indefinitely. My constituents lost their home through no fault of their own. They should not have to wait for years living with relatives, going from shelter to shelter, couch surfing, while A&E, their millionaire landlords, keep their building vacant. What's more, there's a financial incentive for landlords like A&E to delay making repairs until tenants move on so that they can relinquish their rights to return to a rent-regulated unit. This then allows the landlord to build new non-regulated apartments, which are much more profitable for their bottom line. By holding negligent landlords accountable, the state bill would provide strong incentive for timely repairs, ensure tenants can return safely and stable into their housing as quickly as possible. So passing these bills in the state and assembly is a necessary step to strengthen housing security, promote fairness, and uphold the dignity of New Yorkers in a time of crisis. I urge my colleagues to support this resolution, and I stand with the displaced tenants across our city due to fires. Thank you, Councilmember Riley and Councilmember Sanchez, for co-priming this resolution. And I also want to acknowledge Ephraim Taskel, who the Speaker also acknowledged that passed away this past week from a Sunnyside fire as well. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember De La Rosa, followed by Aviles.
Thank you. Today we are introducing Intro 1207, and I want to give a special thank you to Councilmember Krishnan for being a partner on this, and also the 18 other council members that have signed on. The International Union of Operating Engineers Local 30 operates our power plants, powers our health care facilities, and maintains our higher education facilities. They are crucial to our city's infrastructure. As we look towards a green New York City through retrofits, increased development in housing projects, and stability for our working family, we must consider how we can bolster our workforce to meet that need. Our unions already provide apprenticeship options to prepare union hands, but there are necessary barriers to obtaining boiler operating licenses that delay new engineers from entering the workforce. Today's introduction seeks to include the 2-year apprenticeship time into the supervised practical experience time requirement, including their current relevant and informed experience into the 3-year time requirement. We encourage members to continue to sign on and support aspiring union engineers who help keep our city running. Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Aviles.
So I urge my colleagues to stand up to demand the release of Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia graduate student whose green card and student visa was revoked when ICE showed up to his home, removing him from his U.S. citizen wife who is 8 months pregnant. His offense, standing up for Palestinian rights, exercising his First Amendment rights. Make no mistake, if you thought that you'd never see it here in the United States, this is the first disappearance of someone here legally. This is authoritarianism. This is an assault against our democracy, an assault against the First Amendment rights, an assault against human rights, an assault to due process. If you are not alarmed, you are not paying attention. Jailing people for their beliefs is wholly un-American and, quite frankly, frightening. Free Mahmoud Khalil now. We should never allow this in this country. And you must ask yourself, who is next? Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else signed up to speak, great. I'll now call on Speaker Adrian Adams to close today's stated meeting.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. The stated meeting of March 12th, 2025 is hereby adjourned.